Hi guys, my name's Tima, and welcome to another episode. Joining me today is the sales director at Flambard Williams, Jack Percival. Now, Jack climbed the ranks in his career at what most would say an early age. So we thought, why not get him on here today and not only pick his brains about the property market, but also get to know him a little bit more. So, Jack, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Amazing. Well, like I said, we just wanted to get to know you a bit more. So Why don't you start by introducing yourself to everyone?
Yeah, so hi guys. As you said, my name's Jack Percival. I'm the sales director here at Flambard Williams. I'm just excited to be on the show and see what you've got in store for me question-wise.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we do have quite a few questions that we've gathered up for you. So Some will be a bit property related, but some will be a bit personal. So I hope you're ready.
Yep.
First one, we'll start on a lighthearted note, Jack.
Go on.
Okay. So how did you get into Flambard Williams?
Cool, okay. Rolling back the dice. So I come across Flambard Williams. I was just looking for a new job at the time. I sort of went to school, did my A-levels, never went to university. It was never something that really, not that it didn't intrigue me, but never wanted to waste the time. And because I didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, it was never something that, if I was going to go to university, I wanted to make sure that I come out of university and I'd done something with it. Okay. So never really went. I actually looked at pursuing at one point a career in the RAF. Unfortunately, I couldn't join because I get severe migraines. Yeah. So they wouldn't take me. So just then went straight into work, and then I was sort of working a lot of retail at the time, and quite frankly hated it. Just was looking for something to get my teeth into. Really,
was that too boring for you?
Yeah, I just it was just horrible.
Can't imagine you doing
don't get
that.
me wrong, learning curve, learned a lot. But just didn't excite me.
Okay.
It obviously knew that wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And then, I just kind of was searching, looking for different sort of roles. Again, didn't really know too much about what I wanted to do. I always had a bit of a passion for property. I had family and people do property around me. So I was kind of always brought up around it. So I knew I wanted to do property, but I never wanted to become your typical estate agent, so to speak, where you show someone a house and that's kind of it. Do you like it or you don't? Come across Flambard Williams and here we are.
Nice. So you've not looked back since?
Pardon?
You've not looked back since?
Well, no, not quite. It's been a journey.
Okay.
But yeah, wouldn't change it.
Oh, amazing. Well, there you have it, guys, if anyone's asking or wondering about that. Well, this kind of relates to the first question. What age did you join the company, for those who don't know?
Yeah, so I joined at 23, I think it was.
Okay.
Which in my opinion was probably a good age. I mean, I looked probably 16 when I first joined, and I have aged visually over the years. That's this job. But no, I joined at 23, probably the right age, I think, in terms of I had the work ethic. I kind of knew that you had to work hard to get to where you want to get to, not coming out of school and you're kind of mucking around a little bit. So for me, it was probably a perfect age. I had a bit of maturity about me and kind of wanted to get my head down and get stuck into earning money.
Right mindset then.
Yeah, 100%.
Amazing. So you mentioned that you worked a bit in retail and you did a few bits and bobs. So where did you work before Flambard Williams?
I worked in Curry's retail.
The computer
electric
store.
store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that's where I actually was. Well, I got a job there just because friends were working there, and you know it is. You kind of can I get a job there? So worked there for a good few years. Again, progressed there. They wanted me to become a team leader. Then I become a manager there and run a store. Moved a couple of stores to run them, and but I just knew it was only a matter of time. And again, I probably stayed there longer than I probably should have.
Okay.
Just because I always wanted to do more, but again, where I was just so in the dark as to what I wanted to do, I probably stayed there a little bit longer. But thankfully enough, I got out there and found Flambard Williams. It was my saviour.
Did you have good perks though? Electronic perks?
Oh yeah, of course. Cheap TVs and cheap laptops.
We all have a bit of a perk. So you mentioned, Jack, that you sort of dabbled into different work aspects and you weren't really sure where you wanted to go. So what was it that made you decide, hey, property's for me, and get into the property industry?
Well, as I said, family. Kind of said I was always brought up around the property side of things. So I was always asking, as growing up, I was always asking questions and things like that. I was just always I was that kid in school where just ask questions. Sometimes teachers, they've probably got on their nerves because I was always one to just
Not
keep
a bad trait
asking
to have,
questions.
though.
No, but yeah, they probably disagree with that. But so I was always asking questions and just always interested. And I said I knew it was something I wanted to get into, but I said the typical estate agent for me didn't excite me. It was something where and even now I'm still a big believer of if you take someone around a house, don't get me wrong, you can sell it, but they've still got to like that property. You can't, if they don't like it, that's it really, right? So I needed something where I could kind of use my skills. I like the sales element to it, and that's kind of what led me. And I'll be honest, it was kind of coincidence to some degree that I come across this because I wasn't really aware of companies like Flambard Williams.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't something you go on the high street and you see an investment company for property.
Sure.
So I just kind of fell on it, then went through the interview process and found out more. And I said, here we are. So it was just always a bit of a passion for me.
Okay, I like that. That's very insightful. I didn't know that about you. In terms of, I mean, you kind of half answered my next question. So what exactly was it, aside from the fact that it wasn't a real estate agent, what was it about Flambard Williams that really attracted you to stay and, to apply there and so on?
I mean, partly, I'll be honest, money. It was I'm quite like in sales. I think you kind of have to be. You're money driven. You're career driven. You always want to I never wanted a job which could cap me. Yeah. But basically, I always wanted if I put in maximum effort, I want maximum reward.
Of course.
So there was the money side of things. So I knew that if I really excelled, I put in the effort, I put in the work, I could get sort of really where I wanted to get to and get something out of it. So that was probably at that time when I was 23.
Yeah, I was going to say you were so young as well.
Yeah, like you're just like, okay, I can earn this money. So that was probably the biggest driving force then. Things have changed over the years, but that was probably the big thing for me at the time that attracted me, and that I could kind of get the feel of everyone that worked there sort of had aspirations. They wanted to become bigger. They wanted to become better. And that sort of, I kind of followed that same trait.
Amazing. So you mentioned, let's just rewind a little bit. You said that your dad sort of was into property when you were growing up. Were there other members of your family that sort of inspired you to get into it or piqued your interest?
Kind of all of them, really. I mean, I was around my dad when he was doing it more so.
Was that was that development or?
Yeah, so he did. He did some developments and things like that. He done sort of sales, and he done various sales roles, and then he went into a bit developing and things like that. So that was kind of what inspired me. But there was other aspects like my mum was obviously involved. And, just my whole family, really. It was kind of a bit of a multitude of things.
So they're very proud now.
Yeah, I wouldn't pinpoint it was one particular family member. It was just I was kind of always surrounded by it, basically.
Fair play. So, like I said, they must be very proud now that your dad always loves that you follow in their footsteps, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd like to think they're proud. They do tend. Yeah. Your mum and dad, I think, are always pretty proud of you.
Yeah, they have to be.
So they kind of have to be, right? So I'd like to think they are.
All right. Well, 23 years ago, not to annoy you, but it's quite a while. When you were 23 is quite a while ago, right? So would you say that you've personally evolved since you came on board at Flambard Williams?
Yeah, massively. Like I've grown what I like to think from a boy to a man. Some may say otherwise, but I've grown a lot in terms of, I said, the aspirations. Of course, there's still the money element, but the aspirations have changed in terms of I want to get bigger, better knowledge, and just grow as a person. And responsibilities are there now, so you're a lot more responsible. You want to, for me, I want to look after people now. It's more so like family and things like that. So that's that big driving force for me. Yeah. So it's something in which I've grown as a person because my values have changed in why I want to do the job, what motivates me, things like that. So they've changed, but they're still there.
They've aged with you.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
So let's detach from you just for a little bit. You've obviously been at Flambard Williams for a long time. Some would say you're part of the furniture now.
Yeah, literally.
So in the time that you've been there, obviously you've seen people come and go, but focusing your attention on the company, Jack, how would you say the company has evolved over the years that you've been there?
You couldn't even imagine what I walked into and compared to now.
Really, that much?
It's vastly different. I mean, when I joined, it was in an office in Chelmsford.
That's right.
And it's nothing nowhere near like the offices we've got now in terms of in Canary Wharf. It was vastly different. It's kind of unimaginable in some respects in terms of where it's gone from, that smaller little office in Chelmsford, and even the people that we had working at that particular time compared to now, everything's evolved so much.
Yeah.
I think coming to London was a big driving force. Behind that helped us massively. We knew where, and obviously when Chris, obviously he knew where he wanted to take the company. I knew where I wanted to get to, and it was one of them things where we knew that Chelmsford, we got to the point where Chelmsford wasn't going to deliver us that. We couldn't get the staff we wanted, and kind of that obviously leads on to everything else. But it's vastly different.
Yeah, I can't imagine it back then. I would not be able to step into an office back in Chelmsford. No offense, it's a nice area.
Yeah.
But I feel like the drive just isn't.
It was
there.
the drive. It was just. It was everything.
Yeah.
Like from the actual sales part, the after sales was different in terms of how it was operating.
Yeah.
We didn't have the kind of like the lettings arm as much back as we do now. We manage a lot of lettings now. Don't get me wrong, we were still doing some, but nowhere near to the extent of what we're now. So it's evolved. It's been nice to see.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
Do you wish you could step back and kind of see like a little time lapse of how it's come?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
Like, can you imagine?
I'd love to get all the people in the room that we've worked with over the years, because it's in any sales job you tend to see a lot of people come and go.
Of course.
So I'd love to see some of the people that have worked.
That would be interesting.
It would. Yeah, it's been. As I said, I've had some great times.
Yeah.
From seeing various different people. Different offices. It's just been a real journey, and that's what's kept exciting for me.
The atmosphere of the office, the people that you get to work with.
Like no one wants to feel like this is it.
Yeah.
In terms of like you always want to keep evolving, keep moving, and that's what it's been the whole way through. So that's what's kept it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And fun.
And it doesn't feel like work as well, isn't it?
Yeah. If you enjoy it.
Yep.
Like you say. Doesn't feel like work. I mean, you look at the clock now, you know what it's like.
Yeah, you sometimes have to get kicked out of the office.
Yeah, you look up and you're like, God, it's 8 o'clock, and you don't even know where the day's gone.
Exactly.
Which is a good sign.
A good problem to have.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect. Well, moving on to my next question. So, personal to you, you've climbed the ranks, like we've said. Very, very admirable. I think you've got, not to make your head grow any bigger, but it is. So, where do you want to take the company? If you had to decide, what's your direction that you're trying to get it to go in?
Just bigger and better. So for me, I want to get it to the point of that Flambard Williams is in some respects like a household name, in that you kind of, if people want to invest in property, they would come to us. Yeah. I kind of you want to dominate the industry, probably like other companies do too, but we'll just make sure we get there. So it's just a case of getting Flambard Williams to the point of where you think investing in property, you think of us. And I think that's done in a number of different ways in terms of how we get there. Yeah. Big part for me is just the clients that we do have, they put a lot of trust in us.
Yeah, of course.
So we need to kind of repay the trust by delivering on what we're telling them. Yep. That then leads to referrals to people then just recommending us, and kind of it evolves from there. So that
recurring business is always more important, isn't it?
It's key. It's key. If we do bad jobs, we're going to get bad reviews, and then it only goes that way. So it's key for us to keep keep delivering right. But I genuinely I don't want to stop. I just want to keep getting bigger and better.
Well, hopefully we're all there to witness it.
Yeah, we will
which I'm sure we will be. So let's focus a bit more on the property market, something obviously we go on about every single day. Yeah. So in the times that you've been at Flambard Williams, like you said, the company has evolved. But with times changing, so has the property market, right? Yeah. So what would you say are the main changes that's going on in the property market at the moment that you've seen?
I mean, obviously at the moment you've got the current stuff with obviously interest rates. Of course. You've got the Labour government who have just sort of changed stamp duty, things like that. So that's the current news, so to speak. However, what I would say is, I said, even over the period, I mean, whilst I've been here a long time, you compare it to property, it's not long, right? Property is, as an investment, it's a longer term investment. Of course. But the times that since I've walked into the company, we've had, you've had COVID, you've had changes in government, you've had stamp duty rises. What else have we had? Like you've kind of had everything you could possibly think would happen in that time, and yet it's still performed. It's still outperformed a lot of assets. It's still been solid investments for a lot of people. So there's always things that prevent people from investing. Like we say at the moment, we've had Labour government. We had a lot of people, it's like last year, I'm going to wait, interest rates are too high. Or
interest rates. We've had Trump coming in. That's been a bit of a curveball for us.
Yeah, we've had property markets going to drop.
Yeah.
And all these things, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Touch wood. But yeah, and I don't think it will. I think there's always something going on.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep property for long enough, you tend to make money.
It performs, doesn't it? It's one of the more stable forms of an investment, isn't it?
100%. If you're looking at quick flips, different type of story, you kind of have to be a bit more careful. But for most of our investors, as you know, we don't try and say, you can become a millionaire overnight. You're going to make hundreds of thousands in the space of a year or two.
If we say that, guys, be a bit careful.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. And anyone who says that, it isn't a long-term game.
Yeah.
Isn't a short-term game. Sorry, you have to.
Yeah, exactly. You have to wait for what is it we always say? It's not a marathon. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So yeah, it is a longer-term thing. So there's always things that can happen, as I said, with everything that's going on at the moment. But I mean, let's take these last 2 months. It's been great, right? In terms of,
gosh,
we've had we had our best month ever in the whole history last month.
Yeah. Quite surprising start of the year, right? Normally it takes a bit.
So I think that's stemmed from a lot of people see the negatives of what's going on in the property market. A lot of people go, well, stamp duty is going to increase and interest rates are still high, so they think it's a bad time.
It increased and we actually got more business, ironically.
Yeah, because everyone's trying to race to beat the stamp duty. So there's so many reasons to buy now and any time. And my thing is, it's irrelevant when you buy. Just when you've got the money, buy. Don't try and time the market.
Okay.
But that's for another story.
Good advice. I hope you guys are taking this all on board. You don't normally hand out these gems. So we've spoken a little bit about what you've seen the property market do. So what do you, in the time that you've been here, so what do you think is going to happen in the future? Significant changes?
I think it's going to be a solid few years.
Yeah.
For the property market, I genuinely do. I don't think we're going to see any major dips, recessions, anything like that. I think the next couple of years should probably be some of the best. We've weathered the storm with interest rates.
Yeah.
They're going to start to trickle back down now. So I think the next couple of years should be really, really good. I think, personally, I don't like to get political.
Yeah.
But I don't think Labour government will probably make another term. So I think that you're going to have the likes of either Conservative come in or potentially now there's arguments with reform and stuff like that come in, and they are going to want to try and do things to win back the government. And I think that the property market is always a key focus for any government that gets in. So yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor, and I think that again, once that comes in, that's then going to bolster the property market for the next few years.
Okay.
But generally, what I would say, personally, the UK is a very, very stable property market. We as a government, we do everything we possibly can to stabilise, because it's a lucrative thing for the government. Let's take COVID.
God,
it's going back now. But one of the first industries they wanted to open was the property market, and that's because the stamp duty, things like that, bring in so much to the economy. So overall, if I'm right, hopefully we are. We've been pretty accurate the last few years.
We have been.
Yeah, with our predictions, I think we're in for a good few years.
Yeah.
But the good thing with property is, let's say it crashes. Let's say at some point we have a crash. Well, then it's a great time to buy because you're buying the same property cheaper.
There are always pros and cons, isn't it?
Yeah. And the next few years, well, if you buy now, well, it's gonna go up the next few years.
True.
As long as you hold it long term, you'll be fine.
Okay, so actually, I want to jump into this question because it literally relates to something you just said. So let's talk about the buy-to-let market in terms of limited companies. It's said to be one of the stronger and more popular businesses in the UK. So do you think that this is going to be consistent and stay this way or increase, or what are your predictions on that?
I think it will stay this way, of course, unless government bring in something now around limited companies. But
surprise.
The chance they can't.
Yeah.
They can't continue to change things because it then does hamper. And again, going back to what I said earlier, they don't want to disrupt the property market too much. So yes, it's definitely the way forward. The tax advantages that you have with setting up a limited company to put your properties in is massive. Again, a lot of people read news in regards to they say, oh, all these landlords are selling up, they're getting rid of it, property doesn't make any money anymore. It's correct in that if you're holding 30, 40, 50 properties, like some of these landlords were in their own personal name, it doesn't. I totally get why they'd set up, because their profits are being eaten away and eroded by the tax.
Yeah, sure.
But for anyone new starting out, that they can kind of get around that by putting it into a limited company. It's just what people don't want to do is transfer from personal to a limited, because then you're going to be paying stamp duty again. But it is still 100% lucrative, and the company is definitely the way to do it going forward. If you're looking to buy property, 9 times out of 10, put it in a limited company. But of course, speak to an accountant.
There we go. Of course.
Yeah, don't quote me on it.
Yeah, can't have that. So let's talk a bit about that. You know, property, obviously, well, any investment, it's going to have an element of risk. It's not all going to be as black and white as we think it is, and which we know very well. So, I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but can we lose money investing in property? And if so, what are the best ways to sort of avoid that?
Look, it's an investment. You can always lose money. In any investment, there is potential to lose money. But again, it comes back down to what type of property, in terms of what type of strategy you adopt in. If you're looking to do things like, there's so many strategies out there. Obviously, we're a big advocate of buy a property, rent it out, either traditional or short term. Pretty traditional in some respects, but it's proven. If you're going down other routes, such as buy, rent, refurbish, flipping properties, things like that, that's where you can be more likely to lose money, because if you don't know what you're doing, it's tough. And don't get me wrong, I do this day to day. Even for me, I'm still running risks of things going up. You buy a house and from auction, that's the big one we get, as you know. Oh, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to make loads of money and do it up. It takes one thing. It takes one thing for you not to have foreseen, and that wipes out all of your profit, and potentially you're opening yourself up to losses. So can you lose money? Yes. However, if you do it right, you speak to experts. And again, if you want to do the buy, rent, refurbish, speak to an expert in that field if you're not in it. I would always advise speaking to an expert, because they're doing it day to day. Like you would a doctor, you was ill, you go and speak.
You don't do it yourself.
You go, you don't go, oh, I think it's this. You go to speak to an expert. And it's the same with any industry. I'm a big believer, speak to the right people, and you'll be all right. But as I said, in terms of our model, as long as you keep it long enough, you won't lose money. I mean, I'd encourage anyone to pick 2 points in history over a 10-year period. Pick 2. You choose, and you won't lose money. And
I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to go back. And
you would find that if you picked any 2 points, that the property values would have gone up. So I think you're relatively safe.
I mean, there's always going to be an element of risk, but I feel like that makes the reward a bit more fulfillable, because you've gone out of your comfort zone, and then you're rewarded by it. Right?
No, you don't get anything staying in your comfort zone. This risk reward. Of course, you can do riskier things. So let's take short-term lets that we do. It's a little bit riskier, or can be deemed as a little bit more riskier, because you haven't got stability. You haven't got someone paying that mortgage every single month.
Of course.
You're going to have some months are great, some months are less. But if you get it right, the reward is higher.
Exactly.
So again, that comes down to, as you know, when we speak to people, what's the risk appetite like? Do they want stability? Be comfortable, safe, secure? Go traditionals. Go traditional lets. If you are happy to take a little bit of a risk, and a bit more an educated risk, albeit, but a little bit more risk, then explore the short term lets. It's all different. Every client's different. It just depends on your appetite. But yes, risk reward.
Like I said, it was a rhetorical question, but really good answer. So let's take it back. We're wrapping up now. So we're going to drag it back to you. Take it a bit more personal.
Come on in.
So what has the last 10 years been like for you, Jack?
As I said, a journey. I've loved every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been hard. Make no bones about it. It's not been easy.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of hard work, and
Of course.
over the years, it's stuff that you probably people don't see that you're kind of doing the whole. But it's been a real journey.
Mm-hmm.
I said I wouldn't change any of it. I've evolved as a person.
Yeah.
Both inside and outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a big thing for me. But yeah, just that's the only way I could describe it, is a journey.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I probably think it still will be a roller coaster for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want it to be. I think you want
You'd
it
be
to
bored
be exciting.
otherwise.
Yeah. And I do get bored quite easily.
It's no Curry's PC here, is it?
No.
No shame to them at all. But I think you know that's a bit more on the risky side.
You want a roller coaster in some respects. That's what kind of keeps me going and keeps it exciting. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So a journey, but a positive one.
Yeah. But as I said, I have aged.
Yeah, we haven't got the greys yet, so that's good.
Yeah, not
Yet.
just yet. Yeah, they're coming.
So let's go back to that then. You being 23, a little child joining the company.
Yeah.
So what would you do again if you could go back to your 20s? Would you do anything differently?
That's a good question. What would I do? In terms of
just how you've gone through this whole process, how you've evolved, made certain decisions that you are now, where you're at now.
I wouldn't change much.
Okay.
Because I said I think that's kind of got me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And I also think that 23, whilst it was still a good age to join, you're still a bit naive and things like that. I think probably one of the big things I would do is, one thing I give Chris credit for, that he told me since I walked through the doors, read.
Yeah.
Read more. You can learn so much, and I've never been a reader.
Yeah.
Until recently, and I absolutely love it, and I now
preach it.
Yeah, preach it. I'm a big advocate for it.
Yeah.
But that's only come sort of later.
Yeah.
Where I've probably evolved, and
of course
I'm becoming old. Maybe old and boring. But
no.
Yeah,
educated, old and educated.
Yeah, that's what I like to tell myself. But that's probably one thing that I would have changed, in that wish I would have adapted that sooner. But yeah, apart from that, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I like that as well.
You just go through the journey. You're gonna have ups. And there's been ups and there's been downs. But yeah, that's kind of what makes it interesting.
All right, you ready for the last question?
Go on, hit me with it.
We've seen the company grow, you more than most.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, what would you change about Flambard Williams, if anything? And again, be honest.
What would I change? I've got to be careful with this one.
Yeah.
Another job at the end of it. No. There's always things to improve.
Yeah.
There's always things to change, right? I'm not going to sit here and say we're perfect. Do we get things wrong? Yeah. We do. Anyone does. The only thing I would change potentially is maybe something around our recruitment, because we find, and again, this might not be just us, but you know what it's like. It's so hard to find really good quality people that have that hunger, have that appetite, and it's such a great job if you want to be involved in a company that's growing, that challenges you, that pushes you, where there's great potential to earn, to develop as a person. It's a great company. Trying to find that sort of things is still it's like our Achilles heel. We try everything, but we just can't quite grasp that. So I don't think it's something to change, because we are trying to change it, but just something where I'd like to see us really sort of get that part right.
And I feel like as we evolve as well, as we're changing, I feel like we're still as hungry, but we change a little bit, so the people that we're looking for will also change. I'm sure you guys can imagine when you were hiring back in Chelmsford, you weren't looking for people as the same people that you're looking at now, hence why you moved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The company evolves, you get better, so you get better quality people, and so it goes on. But yeah, it's just hard. So if there's anyone watching this who wants that job, wants to come and work for us.
If you're hungry, guys.
Yeah, it's tough. But that'd be the bit that I'd really like to see us really grasp this year and take forward, because I think that's kind of it takes the company to new places, and it'd be exciting to see.
Yeah, I like that it's a bit of a hard process though, personally, because it means that anyone who does stay on board is that, that person that we're looking for. And then improves the quality of the team and the company themselves.
Yeah, you have, like we don't make the process easy, and it's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
let's be realistic. It is pretty brutal, but if you can come through the other side, again, that just shows. And if you can come through the other side, you know that we know to some degree that you can go and do the job, because it is a tough job.
Yes,
there's no getting around that. It is, but again, anything that you want that is worthwhile in life, is hard to get and hard to accomplish. So
it's tough, but like we said, if you like it, if you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like work, right?
No, the days go too quick.
Exactly.
So,
well, thank you so much, Jack.
You're welcome.
It's been amazing having you on here, picking your brains a bit. I will personally learn some new things about you.
Well, there you go.
So guys,
surprises.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll have you on here again. Well, there you have it, guys. That's a wrap. Unfortunately, the time has finished for today's episode, but I hope you all enjoyed it. Tune in next time. We are going to have another episode, but with a different guest. Not going to tell you who yet, but you'll find out soon.